I took the shortcut from 29 Palms, California, to Albuquerque, North Carolina. 29 Palms is located in the desolate, high-altitude desert east of Los Angeles. The shortest route was a completely two-lane road through complete nothingness, except for passing through Amboy, California. Amboy is an almost abandoned city, located almost as low above sea level as Death Valley, with an extinct volcano and lava field on one side and a salt flat on the other. At that time, it was also a hotspot for satanic groups, so I was driving by myself in the afternoon. I stopped in Amboy and snapped a picture of the city sign, just to prove I was there to friends who dared me to take that route to I-40. I got back in my car and proceeded to drive up into the mountain range between Amboy and I-40. Once I reached the top, I am driving north through a canyon with high grass on both sides of the road. Up ahead, I see some stuff in the middle of the road. As I approach, I slow down to see a red Pontiac Fiero stopped sideways across both lanes, a suitcase open, with clothes scattered everywhere, and two bodies laying face down in the road, a man and a woman. I stop 100 feet or so away, and the hair on the back of my neck is standing up. Being a Marine, I reach under the seat and pull out a 9mm pistol and chamber around. Something seemed very wrong. It looked too perfect, as if it were staged. An ambush. Was I being paranoid? Something was just wrong. Getting out of the car seemed unthinkable. It was the horror movie move. As I scanned the road, I saw a line I could drive, past the guy in the road on his left, swerve to the right side of the woman, behind the Fiero, and I'd be on the other side. I dropped it into first gear, punched it, and drove the line I planned. I passed the back of the Fiero without hitting it or either of the bodies in the road. I continued forward a couple 100 feet and slowed down so I could breathe and let my heart slow down. As I looked up into the rearview mirror, I saw that the two bodies had gotten up to their knees, and 20 or so people emerged from the tall grass on either side of the road by the car and bodies. At that moment, my right foot smashed the gas pedal to the floor and did not let up until I had to slow down for the I-40 East on-ramp. I will never know what would have happened to me had I gotten out of the car to check on the bodies or stopped my car closer to them. Somehow, I do not think it would have been good. Sometimes real life can be scarier than a movie. Something sort of like this happened to me once when I was still too young to drive. My mom came to pick me, my sister, and our friend up from a concert at a local bar. It was around 2 a.m. as we're driving back to our neighborhood, which was in the middle of nowhere. Seriously, we didn't even live close to the city limits. There weren't any streetlights near our neighborhood, or really for a 5-mile span around where we lived, so it was always pitch black. We're driving along this street when we come up over a hill, and my mom starts slowing down. Naturally, we start asking her why we're slowing down, and she points ahead to the road at the bottom of the hill and tells us she's trying to figure out what's happened up ahead. We look, and all I can see is this huge mass of people walking around in the middle of the road, completely blocking it. Someone even had a torch. I kid you not. My mom slows down almost completely and starts flickering her lights, hoping they'll move. But they don't, so she did a quick U-turn, and we went a different way. To this day, I still have no idea what those people were doing. Time vanishes at the stop sign. When I was 16 and learning how to drive, Something happened to me that still creeps me out a bit to this day. I'm out in a driving school vehicle with the driving instructor, about an hour into the 2-hour session. It's not my first drive, so I am cool and collected. Anyway, we head down this road and approach a stop sign, still visible in the remaining daylight. I am going maybe 35 to 40 miles per hour on the edge of a residential area, with no homes along either the road I was traveling or down the cross street at the stop sign. As we approach the sign, I see people stopped on the cross street waiting, maybe 200 to 300 yards away from the stop sign. The driving instructor says to me, "Make sure you stop at the sign ahead." I think to myself, why would just remind me to stop at the sign, and then say out loud, "Yep," just to humor her and be nice. The sign is still pretty far away, so it feels like an odd reminder. Just as my conscious mind picks up and realizes that we've passed the stop sign, the driving instructor turns to me and says, "Did we stop at the sign?" I look over at her, and we both know, without saying, neither of us can recall if we stopped at that stop sign. We don't know what happened for those 2 to 3 minutes. No fork in the road. My significant other and I were driving on a motorcycle to a friend's place in northern CA, where neither of us had been there before. We had directions. This was way before GPS and cell phones. But at one point, we encounter a fork in the road, and there was no mention of a fork in our directions. We choose one at random, and immediately felt this creepy, weird vibe. I'm begging my significant other to turn back. He keeps saying, "No, it must be around this next corner." Finally, he agrees and turns back. We take the other fork and find our friend's house in about 3 minutes. The really creepy part is our friends assure us there is no fork in the road. We explore it over the weekend. No fork anywhere. So, no great tale of horrors we saw. Just a creepy road that shouldn't have been there. It still gives me the creeps just thinking about it. I'm a skeptic. We both are. But this is one of the few things that I really can't explain. I was about 15 minutes from finishing the night shift at work when there was a massive crash on one of the windows in the office, so I get up and go to check it out. Someone has thrown quite a sizable rock through one of the windows on the front of the building. This is made especially weird because I'm working in the industrial district at 11:30 at night with none of the other businesses open. I go back to my desk, put a quick call through to security to let them know, and decide to head home. As I'm leaving the building, I'm freaking myself out about it more and more and end up running to my car, getting in, and taking off. I'm almost home, and I've started to calm down a bit when I realized that I didn't unlock my car when I got in. It had been unlocked the whole time. I do a quick check with my hand in the back seat for any possible murderers that might be hanging around there, but there's nothing there. Fast forward 30 minutes. I've called a friend of mine who says he is out drinking, so I decide I'm going to join him. I jump on my bicycle and start riding over. I'm doodling along the road on my bike. It's a nice night, and I'm in no big rush, just enjoying the moonlight, when I hear someone riding behind me. I straighten up and stick to one side of the road. He passes me really slowly, and when he is right beside me, he shoots me a smile I can describe as purely fucking insane. I kind of flinch and am taken aback as he rides on. That's when I realize he is reading my mom's bike. Needless to say, I sprint the fuck home. When I get there, sure enough, her bike is missing, and one of my car doors is open. The back left one. I was driving and had no need to open that door.